Putin just said there. This was Zelensky being interviewed a couple of days ago on what he thinks is their victory plan.
Your victory plan, does it include negotiating with Russia? And how can you trust someone?
It's not about negotiating with Russia. No, it's about, like I said, it's a bridge to diplomatic way how to stop the war. The bridge is a plan of victory or victorious plan. It's a strengthening of Ukrainian army and Ukrainian people. Only in the strong position we can push Putin to stop the war, diplomatic way. And only with a strong position we can speak. That's why we're asking our friends, our allies to strengthen us. It's very important.
So he is not thinking in context. He is thinking like, la, 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 I'm not going to listen to anything Putin says. And he's not going to look at what's going on the ground, and the tactical situation that I just described is starting to crumble in both the north and in the east. And he's just talking aspirational. I don't care about what else happened here. If everyone joins me, it'll be fine. It'll be okay. So now, just as a point, he's a lot less worried about the nuclear threshold, because even if it happens in his country, he can calculate in his mind, yeah, but there will be a bunch more going over my shoulder heading back in the direction of Russia. And if they get nuked too, cool, because maybe then he'll stop. And so he's probably banking on that kind of over your shoulder support that would say, no matter what, he's not going to let Putin win. I'm not sure that's a good gamble. In fact, I'm sure it's not a good gamble. Now then, that's what he said then. Now then, at his UN General Assembly speech earlier today, he added this.
We must restore nuclear safety. Energy must stop being used as a weapon. We must ensure food security. We need to bring home all our captured soldiers and civilians forcibly deported to Russia. We must uphold the UN Charter and guarantee our right, Ukraine's right to territorial integrity and sovereignty, just as we do for any other nation. We need to withdraw the Russian occupiers, which will bring an end to the hostilities in Ukraine, and we must hold those responsible for war crimes accountable. We need to prevent ecocide and stop the destruction of nature caused by the war. And we must not allow a second or third phase of this Russian invasion. And we need to make it clear the war is over. This is the peace formula. What part of this could be unacceptable to anyone who upholds the UN Charter?
Okay, that's just a wish list. And in the context of all the things that are going on and what the U.S. is even thinking about there, I think he is trying to put Biden in a pressure position, trying to coerce him by making these public statements to saying, you got to do this, because if you don't, you're going to look bad. You've been saying you're going to support us for as long as it takes. Okay, here's what it's going to take. I have this big wish list. Apparently that's what he's going to give them tomorrow, which is going to include saying, I want long-range weapons. I want you to use long-range weapons in my country against Russia. And I want an invitation to NATO, which is just, I mean, that's absurd, because that's why Russia went to war in the first place. I don't know why anybody in their right mind would think that that is something that the United States would do, but that's nevertheless what's on his mind there. But we aren't going to get into a situation like that, I doubt, very seriously, and especially if, there is the possibility of Russia retaliating directly against that. We have to hope that Biden is not going to stick with his old mantra of doing whatever it takes for as long as it takes. Number one, he's only got a few more months left on his term anyway, and one would hope that he's not going to drag the United States into a conflict. Now, as I mentioned a second ago, there are those in the United States that say, forget about this. Don't worry. I mentioned Bolton before. Here he is.
If you're worried about what Putin said and we react accordingly, you're going to give him what he wants at absolutely no cost to him. My response to Putin's remark, as to earlier threats,